Shalom, today is March 21st and we're on day 532 of the war in Israel. The newspapers are much about the war that has restarted, you can say. We'll read about that, but the main article is about the dismissal, hahadacha, and the protest, hamecha'ah. Thousands were protesting yesterday in the rain and the day before. It's a rainy few days right now in Israel, even though it's somewhat spring. They're protesting against the dismissal of the head of the Shin Bet Ronen Bar. Shin Bet is Sherut Bitachon, the Internal Security Services of Israel. Another headline, Tzahal ne'erach lepinui me'ot alafim mitzvon ha'retzuah. The IDF is preparing for the evacuation of hundreds of thousands of people from the north part of the Gaza Strip. Again. The main article, Chtav ha'ishum shel Ronen Bar. The indictment of Ronen Bar. So the editor is choosing here to say that the harsh letter that Ronen Bar wrote to the ministers of the government is like an indictment. It says the head of the Shabak chose not to be present in the meeting last night that was discussing his termination. Before the meeting, before the discussion, he sent a harsh letter to the ministers of the government saying that this is sabotaging the Qatar Gate investigation in which Netanyahu and the government may be accused of receiving money and other benefits from Qatar. This is sabotaging that investigation by choosing to dismiss me quickly. And it is wrongdoing. It's invalid. It's wrong. In addition to this firing, on Sunday, the government will discuss e-emun, the distrust in the Attorney General Gali Baharav-Miara. The subheadline up here writes Bein shtei hadachot, between two dismissals. The one that happened last night of Ronen Bar, the head of the Shin Bet, and the one that is expected to take place on Sunday against the Attorney General. It says here that this is the first time that the government of Israel fires the chief of the Shin Bet in Israel. Also, Ronen Bar says that while Netanyahu says that there's distrust, that the trust has been broken between him and Ronen Bar, Ronen says that it is wrong that I should be personally loyal to the Prime Minister of Israel. I should be completely loyal to the safety of the citizens of Israel. That is my first priority. So this is big news, continuing to be big news in Israel. On the left, the article is about the thousands of people protesting against the dismissal of Ronen Bar. They're saying it's dangerous, it's wrongdoing, in the rain, with umbrellas, in the cold of Jerusalem, outside of the Prime Minister's home, which is, by the way, on Gaza Street in Jerusalem. It's called Gaza Street in Hebrew, Aza. That's where the official home of the Prime Minister is in Jerusalem. Cops, policemen smashed windows. They got into conflict with protesters in Jerusalem. So there's a lot of tension between police and civilians, between civilians to civilians. Even Aharon Barak, which is the former high court judge, says that there is a concern of a civilian war. I think that's a little bit exaggerated, but this is what Aharon Barak says. One of the protesters is Yair Golan. He's an active Knesset member in the government nowadays. He was pushed on the ground by the policemen. So there's a lot of tension between the civilians and policemen concerning this. Some people say this is serving Netanyahu, as Netanyahu does want a tear between civilians. Other people say it is not doing good in any way. Next, about the hostages. Ha'avot shecharedim legoral bneihem medabrim. The fathers who are anxious for the destiny, the future of their sons held in Gaza, they're speaking up now. And one of them says, Hamas motzi et ha'atzabim al hayeladim shelanu. Hamas is taking their rage out on our children. Lo hatzlachnu la'atzor et medina. We did not succeed to stop the country. The government, says Chagai Engrest, the father of Matan Engrest. Ilan, the father of Guy Dalal, says, Ein lahem et hazman sheyesh lamedina. They do not have the time that the government has. And Rubi Chen, the father of Itai Chen, says, Netanyahu is promoting disunity rather than unity amongst the people. They see that the second stage of the hostage exchange deal is getting further and further away, and they are anxious for the future of their children. I'll highlight one more quote of Haggai, the father of Matan and Grist. He says in anger, "I sent a soldier to protect Israel, and I need to ask for help from the White House." He is angry. And on the left here is about the ceasefire that has stopped a few days ago as Israel started to bomb Hamas again, as they were not willing to give any more hostages. They were not willing to negotiate any longer. So it reads here, Mivtza Mugbal, a limited operation in Gaza. Lo milchama, it's not a war. And the IDF is strengthening its forces in the Gaza border with 2 extra battalions coming from the northern part of Israel. And this is called Mivtza Oz Vacherev. It's the operation called Oz Vacherev, meaning Oz is strength, Cherev is sword. So strength and sword. And it's happening in Tzura Meupeket, meaning it is in a restrained manner. Toch hafalat lachatz iti. This is by using slow and gradual force on Hamas through the population. And the terror group does not show any surrender signs or any willingness to compromise on the negotiations. The opposite is true. He is getting ready, Hamas is getting ready with thousands of his activists to give back war to Israel, to fight back. The IDF is also getting ready for the next stage, which is evacuating hundreds of thousands of Gazan citizens from the northern part of the Ritzuah, of the strip, in order to take over the northern part of the strip again. Yossi Yehoshua, the journalist, writes here that actually this is time to speed up, as the IDF is using only air forces right now, only fighter jets. He's saying it's time to bring in the ground troops as well to speed up the goals of this limited operation. And as I read yesterday's newspaper, I chose one interesting article that I found interesting to share with you. It's about the reserve soldiers. Israel depends on its reserve soldiers for war. Now, in the ceasefire that was about 2 months, many of the reserve soldiers could rest. But now they're being called up again as Israel prepares for the ground operation perhaps in Gaza. And it reads, ברגע שהם שומעים שזה קצין המילואים שלהם, הם מסבירים שאי אפשר יותר. When the reserve soldiers hear that it's the reserve officer that's calling, they explain that they can't do it anymore. The field officers are warning. The distress and the manpower of the IDF is not only a prophecy, it is felt well when we call up the soldiers to come and serve. So they're much more, the reserve soldiers are much more reluctant to come and serve as they are tired. They are worn out. They've paid high prices in business, in family life, in their work, in their personal lifestyle. They've paid a high price and they are tired. This is connected also to the refusal of the ultra-Orthodox to take part of the IDF service, of serving in the IDF to protect Israel. And yes, the war is going to be renewed right now, it says here. And the burden on the reserve soldiers is growing and it's increasing. And the achuzei giyus lemiluim tzonchim, the percentage of those who are willing to serve again, is dropping. The percent is dropping. So this is dangerous even for the battalions and the brigades of the IDF that are dependent on its reserve soldiers. The officer says we cannot blame them. These are people, men, some women, that have left everything and that have been fighting for 300 days already and sometimes over 300 days. So the IDF is searching for more creative solutions, but the problem stays. There isn't enough manpower. I will end with this article. Thank you for standing with Israel and for watching us. We hope you find it beneficial to be aware of what Israelis are reading in the morning. For those who read the newspapers, we bring you news that matters, and for more news that matters, go to allisrael.com. If you like this video, please like it, share it with your friends and family. I'm Rotem Magen for All Israel News.